Well, it wouldn't be a new console experience from the lads at Nintendo if we didn't have the obligatory Mario platformer game to spruce up the library. Yes, boys and girls, it's our first look at a game for the Wii U now that we're taking a break from the 3DS workhorse. The story of this maligned console produced in Nintendo's worsening years is well known, so I won't bore you by recounting it here beyond a little story. When I came back to New Brothers U and dealt with a little error the game was causing by me not using this console in 2 years, I mostly played it just on the tablet because it was easier. The whole screen tablet feature was definitely one of the Wii U's saving graces, even if combining it with the actual controller makes about as much sense as trying to show off the power of concrete by making shoes out of it. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but the added convenience of playing a console-powered game on a handheld device is a nice thing to have if you still haven't bought one and needed a reason. The reason for people to buy this at the time, beyond the laundry list of half-assed AAA ports, was New Super Mario Bros. U, yet another example in Nintendo's library of why the hell are we still doing this. When the game's intro is Mario and friends sitting down to lunch with Peach and Bowser comes in with no effort and just throws Mario and friends out in the middle of nowhere, it really shows how this series has not budged an inch since 2005. So yeah, same old story with a bit of a twist. Instead of Bowser stealing Peach and legging it to his next stupidly designed lava castle, he instead just steals Peach's entire castle and later conjures a magic tornado around the whole thing that doesn't really do much. Sure, it transforms the castle into your standard lava castle, but since Mario can just walk right through the damn thing no problem, I ask, why is it there? I ask that about a lot of things in this game, like the live system. Why does that continue to persist in this grand future year of 2012? By the end of this experience, I had managed to hit the cap on extra lives at least 20 times and beating the final boss with north of 90 of the buggers littered around my house. There is zero reason why it continues to be there in the modern era of game design. Back in the day of things like Super Mario Bros., the live system was necessary to give the player a challenge and to arbitrarily extend game time. It actually mattered to have your extra lives and continues in a NES game because they were being taken from you hand over fist. And it's what made getting another one such a bolt of excitement in those games, but nowadays, you can go into Super Mario Galaxy and get 15 extra lives just by waving the cursor around. Their existence is completely devalued by them being literally everywhere. So why do they exist at all when you can just have regular checkpoints like any other normal video game? It's ironic, really, that New Super Mario Bros. U resists the advent of modern video games since it loves to wallow in the comfort zone of its previous titles. This may sound like a ridiculous exaggeration, but I like this game better when it was called New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Bros. U has basically zero new ideas of its own to add to the series when I can find so many of the level design ideas in past titles. There's the sand geysers, there's the spinning spike bars, the motion-controlled elevators, the Porcupuffer water-treading places, the Boom Boom fights, the Lakitu clouds, and of course, Yoshi's goddamned apples. As insulting as it was for Super Mario Galaxy 2's idea for revolutionizing the 3D platformer by just putting Yoshi in it, at least they gave Yoshi new power-ups and created new gameplay challenges with him. In Bros. U, it's just the same crap that you've been playing ever since you brought your SNES home, all redone in glorious 720p. I tried, viewers. I really tried to think of what New Super Mario Bros. U added that could be called a new idea that it pioneered. The closest thing I came up with was the new power-up, the squirrel acorn or whatever it's called, but its purpose is so similar to the cape feather, the tanuki suit, and the propeller block that it can't seem to escape the trap of just being another Mario power-up. I have been harsh, but just being another of the same isn't exactly a bad thing. Heck, I pretty much enjoyed the experience of the game in its entirety. It has the usual good level design, great difficulty curve, and the satisfaction of getting through some tough levels. Plus, the charming addition of Nintendo's social media thing allows you to see the creativity of the audience to try and swear at the game while not actually swearing at the game. Kind of like Dark Souls' note passing system, except less helpful. I find the main problem with New Super Mario Bros. U is that it feels like it was designed more to recapture the magic of Super Mario World than live up on its own merits. The bunch of the reused designs do trace back to that innovative title. Spinning platforms, the giant fuzzies, the Koopaling boss fights, and the spike bars. Heck, even the Bowser hand squish move in the late game. But the thing that Bros. U doesn't have that World did, and what truly kills the game's replayability, is that you can't explore New Super Mario Bros. U's world map. Try and think back to those nostalgic days when you played Super Mario World. Do you remember when you found your first secret exit? I'm betting that secret exit at least took you to one new level, and back in the days before GameFAQs, you could be the only one amongst your group of friends to share that find, and feel like the top dog, the best gamer. Hell, if you were really lucky, you could even find that one that would open up a whole new type of level, and like 3 or 4 new challenges. Maybe even find a sweet shortcut. See, that fun of being able to discover is lost in New Super Mario Bros. U and the entire new Mario series as a whole. Yeah, you may be able to find 1 or 2 secrets in each world, but that's about it. And even if there are whole new frontiers unexplored, the world map doesn't make them seem obvious enough to know that they exist. At least in Super Mario World, the world map seemed a lot bigger than it should be, and that led you to figuring out that there was more under the surface and eventually led you to the super rare special world entrances. That was fun. Bros. U has a special world as well, but it's your typical quote-unquote reward for beating the main game that requires you to collect all the star coins for a meaningless addition of 8 or 9 new levels to play. No new boss or castle at the end, so it's just the levels. No one ever talks about them, so I'm assuming that they aren't tubular level horrifying or memorable. So again, what is the damn point? You can finish the game in around 6 hours if you don't go for all the levels in the game, making it one of the shortest in the series, and everything feels more like an obligation than entertainment, especially the many boss fights. Boom Boom makes a return to this game to add some Super Mario Bros. 3 action to this melting pot of nostalgia, and he's completely useless in every appearance. Afterwards, the Koopalings need to be dealt with, and overall they are decent boss fights. It's just that Nintendo always makes them too short with the whole 3 hits tradition. The idea you can clean up each one in around a minute is what makes them not fun. To get something good out of this, you usually have to do what Bowser Jr. does and have ridiculous battle mechanics that take some work to just get one hit out of him. He does a better job in this game as his 2 fights are quite fun. Frantic, fast-paced, good punch when you get to bomb his Gormless face, and that leads up to the final confrontation that once again does the whole Super Mario Bros. HD boss fight joke before Kamek makes him giant, so same, so standard, but instead of just finding the self-destruct button at the end of the hallway, you do get to fight him head-on with a Junior Clown Car as the weapon, and it's as fun as the Bros. Wii Bowser chase, since the enjoyment I got after stealing Bowser Jr.'s toy and using it to smack his dad is just priceless. My only complaint was that it didn't take up more screen time. Bowser is defeated and runs off with his family, and Mario gets to enjoy some more bland time with his sort-of princess girlfriend. I'm betting that it's not as glamorous as that would imply. I do wonder what Jen Taylor and Charles Martinet got paid by Nintendo for saying like 5 words for every game their characters are in. I suppose they play multiple roles, which underscores just how little they get to do on Nintendo's payroll as Mario and Peach's voice actors. Also, their audience when they buy these Mario games. You want to know what Bros. U added that's brand new out of the box? It's their 5-member co-op mode, where you still have the 4 in-game characters doing their best to platform to victory, while also platforming on each other's faces and having that one person take 75% of all the level's power-ups. While that's going on, the 5th player is given the Wii U tablet and is able to create platforms on screen just by clicking on it. Just goes to show how highly Nintendo thinks of its audience, I suppose. Now, this would be a useful mechanic to be a last-minute savior in the middle of a hard level, but the problem is that the platforms appear instantly and without warning, so the 5th player could just as easily help out as completely screw the other 4 players, since they have to work around 2 sets of constantly changing environments, as well as each other's stupid movements. It's like trying to form a human pyramid in a giant hamster wheel. Plus, this mode will only ever be played by parties of 5, because what actual human would willingly play as the platform generator when there are open slots to actually playing the game? Nintendo should just not be starting a tradition of horrendously stupid co-op options. I still cannot believe that they let the shit from Super Mario Galaxy 2 fly, where you can have a second player play as a cursor whose only purpose is to catch star bits. I suppose since I raked this game over the coals, that I should be glad for the moment Nintendo has stopped producing games for this series. There are no more new Super Mario games on my list, and considering that both this game exists and Super Mario Maker has been ported to the 3DS from its original platform, I'm guessing Nintendo has run out of ideas for the 2D platformer side of the series. They could always come out with something else, but that something else is going to have to be a new idea entirely pushing the envelope of what's possible to make me any more interested in this series. You just can't do the whole 8 level with a castle at the end rescuing Peach from Bowser plot anymore. It is such a tired idea that the company that made its money parodying this formula has filed for creative bankruptcy. Sure, you can say that the levels are enjoyable, they're pretty, they're fun, and everything you come to expect from a Nintendo Mario platformer, but in the grand formula of the series, the levels should not be the ultimate point of the game. It's the satisfaction of getting to Bowser at the end of it and beating in his stupid face. That's why the Hell's Military portion was put into Super Mario Bros. 3 to build up to Bowser. But when New Super Mario Bros. U is such a breeze to walk through that you can defeat Bowser with 90 plus lives in tow, then you really have lost the point to which people bought these Mario games so many years ago. You can't get invested in this game, there's not enough levels in it, and there's not enough challenge, so all you can really say about it is that it's another Mario platformer, $60 please. So yeah, not exactly a great place to be starting the retro review of Mario's Wii U games, but hey, what can you do when Nintendo won't pay up for its launch titles? Next time we'll be moving forward in time quite a ways, since Nintendo suddenly couldn't justify putting out a lot of games on this console for some reason, and it'll be time to enjoy another classic Wii U escapade for our charming plumber mascot as he sings another rendition of the 8-World Jig. But for now, let's tie up this game with a big number-sporting bow, and give you guys a deserved victory for gamers. Thanks for watching!